Prayers.
Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness have appointed the officers of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of humanity, we beseech you to look upon with abundant favor these your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important trust in this land. Let your blessing descend upon them here assembled, and grant that they may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under their deliberation, in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the good of those whose interests you have committed to their charge. Amen.
Item 2 on the order paper, communication from the chair.
Right Honourable, Your Excellency the Vice President, Right Honourable the Prime Minister, Honourable Leader of the Opposition and members of the Cabinet, members of the House, I want to welcome you to this afternoon sitting and thank you for coming back today to complete an exercise we informed you about yesterday, namely pay tribute to a very senior citizen in this country, one of the first members of Parliament in the Republic of Uganda. And in the VIP gallery, we have Dr. Paul Kawanga Somogerere, Honorable John Kawanga, Dr. Siranda, General Secretary, I think, of the DP, Mr. Kenneth Kakande, Mr. Samuel Muizi Mulindwa, Mr. Opoka Simon, Mr. Mwesi Fred, we have Haji Kames Musa. They have come to pay respects to the deceased senior citizen. We also have the Honorable Livingston Okelo, former member of the House. We have the Honorable Miriam Matembe, former member of this House. Honorable Dr. Lulume Baiga, I don't know who is sitting, former member of this House. And sitting with the family, we have Dr. Kiza Besige. We have also the President of the Democratic Party, Honorable Mao. And of course in the gallery are friends and relatives of the late Mzee Byanyima. We also have Winnie Byanyima, former member of this House. We shall be updating you if there are other arrivals. Thank you.
The casket is transferred from the central lobby to the chamber. Honorable members, please stand up. The Uganda National Anthem and then the East African Community Anthem. Honorable members, please resume your seats.
Now, members, we also welcome Ambassador Kezara, the national chairman, I think, of the Democratic Party, formerly of Jinja, former mayor of Jinja. Welcome.
Item 4 on the order paper, laying of wreath on the casket by dignitaries in the following order. The Right Honourable Speaker. His Excellency the Vice President. The Right Honourable Prime Minister and Leader of Government Business in Parliament. The Leader of the Opposition in Parliament. The Government Chief Whip. The Minister for Presidency. The Chief Opposition Whip. The Democratic Party Whip. followed by the UPC whip. Followed by the Parliamentary Commission. Followed by Ankole Region Members of Parliament Caucus. Followed by Busoga Parliamentary Caucus. Followed by Bukedi Sub-Region MPs, Members of Parliament. Followed by the Buganda Parliamentary Caucus. Followed by West Nile Parliamentary Caucus. West Nile. Followed by UPDF. Followed by a representative of the East African Legislative Assembly MPs elect. Followed by a representative for the President General DP. Followed by the Secretary General, FDC. Secretary General, FDC. Followed by the representative of the Lord Mayor, Kampala. Honorable Fred Mwesige. Honorable Sempala Emmanuel Chigozi. Honorable Kunira Agnes. Honorable Mwijuche Francis Buhweju County. Lukunjiri Parliamentary Caucus. Bugisu Parliamentary Caucus. And last but not least, Honorable Michael Tusime, MP Mbarara Municipality. Item 5 on the order paper, motion for resolution of Parliament to pay tribute to the late Honorable Boniface Byanyima, former MP Ankole Northwest, Ankole Northeast constituency in the Legislative Council.
Honourable members, as I invite the Prime Minister, welcome the Honourable Henry Chemba, who has come to witness the proceedings. I welcome Dr. Nduhura. I welcome the Honourable Musamali, a member of ESC. I welcome Honourable Duman Okelo. I welcome the Honourable Alaso. I welcome the Honourable Ezati Wadri. If I see other members, I'll let you know. Right Honourable the Prime Minister.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, honourable members of Parliament, I wish to move a motion for a resolution of Parliament to pay tribute to the late Mzee Boniface Byanyima for his dedicated service to the nation, and I'm doing so under Rule 47 of the Rules of Procedure of this august House. Right Honourable Speaker, whereas Parliament received the sad news of the demise of Mzee Boniface Byanyima, which occurred on Tuesday, 16th November 2017 at Nakasero Hospital in Kampala, and whereas Mzee Byanyima was born in Buhweju district in 1920 and attended Chinoni Primary School in Rwampara, Mbarara Junior School, Mbarara High School, King's College Budo, and attained a diploma in education from Makerere University College, aware that upon his graduation in 1951, he was posted to teach at Bishop Taka Theological College, Mukono, and that in 1954, he pursued a postgraduate diploma at Exeter University, and on completion, he returned to teach at Mbarara High School. He is remembered for being a bold and principled man. Further aware that Mzee Boniface Byanyima served as a member of the Legislative Council, Legico, representing the people of Ankole Northeast, and as a member of as a minister of public service from 1961 to 1962, a position he held with the trust and integrity, recalling that Mzee Byanyima served as national chairman of the Democratic Party from 1980 to 2005, in which position he again served with intellect, honesty, and commitment, and was consistent. And he was a champion of multi-party politics, further recalling that Mzee Byanyima dedicated his life to the development of Uganda and therefore deserves the recognition of this Parliament and the nation. Now, therefore, be it resolved by this Parliament as follows. 1, that Parliament collectively conveys its deep condolences to the bereaved family, relatives, friends, and the people of Uganda at large for the loss of a distinguished senior citizen of this country. That this Parliament takes cognizance of the dedicated service and contribution Mzee Byanyima has rendered to the people of Uganda as a minister, legislator, and national chairman of the Democratic Party. Right Honourable Speaker, I beg to move.
Is it seconded? Motion seconded by several members. Can justify. It's been seconded.
Right Honourable Speaker, in justification, Mzee Boniface Byanyima was a man of high integrity, moral authority, discipline, and was known for his consistency. He was one of the Ugandan patriots who played a significant role in Uganda's struggle for independence. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, following the passing on of Mzee Byanyima on Tuesday, 16th May 2017, President Museveni briefed Cabinet the following day and directed that he should be accorded an official burial. We thank the family and the leadership of the Democratic Party for the cooperation in this endeavor. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, Mzee Byanyima is remembered for his adherence to principles and speaking out his mind very candidly. This is a character that was admired and indeed respected. Right Honourable Speaker, Mzee Byanyima was born in 1922. 1920, thank you. In 1920, and he is a great-grandson of Chamufumba Chandagara Rwamigano, the eldest son of the Mukamandagara, the last king of Buhweju. In his early years, he lived in the court of Chief Ndibarema in Sika in Buhweju. Mzee Byanyima was among the pioneers of modern education in Uganda. He started his education at Chinoni Primary School. He said to have completed 3 classes in one school year, moving on to Mbara High School for primary 4. He was a gifted and disciplined student who won a scholarship to King's College Budo, where he excelled and joined Makerere University College for a course in education. On graduation from Makerere University in 1951, he was posted to teach at Bishop Taka Theological College, Mukono, Among his students were the late Bishop Amos Betungura, the late Bishop Eustace Ruhindi, and late Bishop Misael Kauma. After a while, Mzee Byanyima returned to teach at Mbara High School, his old school. His students say that he was a devoted teacher who brought out the best out of them. He was known to be good at timekeeping and also strict, but kind and also approachable. Among his many students were Yona Kanyomozi, Ephraim Kamuntu, Anes Rusita, Manyamushega, and President Yoweri Museveni. Mzee Byanyima was a lover of music who taught himself how to play piano and joined Mr. Yuda Nyondo as a second pianist at St. James's Cathedral, Ruharo in Mbarara. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, in 1954, Mzee Byanyima took a sabbatical year to pursue a postgraduate diploma at Exeter University in the United Kingdom. On completion, he returned to continue teaching at Mbara High School. In 1956, Mzee Byanyima married Gertrude Kabwasingo, a teacher like himself. They lived together at Green Gate at Ruti for 52 years until Gertrude passed on in 2008. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, as independence approached in 1961, Mzee Byanyima contested to represent the people of Ankole Northeast constituency to the Legislative Council under the Democratic Party ticket. He won the election with a landslide. He later joined the DP pre-independence government as Minister of Public Service. In 1962, there was another election which resulted in UPC KY Kabakayeka alliance taking over government. Honorable Byanyima was again re-elected to Parliament and served until 1971, when Idi Amin overthrew the government of the day. Before the coup, the Democratic Party had been banned 2 years earlier in 1969. During the period of Idi Amin's regime, Mzee Byanyima continued to serve the Democratic Party and was instrumental in reviving the party after the fall of Idi Amin in 1979. He was a consistent champion of multi-party politics who served as national chairman of the Democratic Party for a long time, as I have already said, 1980 to 2005. Through his entire life, Mzee Byanyima's voice and views on social and political issues in the country were always bold and candid. He was straightforward, unwavering, and incorruptible. What was the cause of death? Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, Mzee Byanyima died of a stroke. We extend our condolences to the family, to the friends and relatives, and indeed to the Democratic Party fraternity and the country at large on the loss of this great son of Uganda. May the Almighty God rest Mzee Byanyima's soul in eternal peace.
Thank you very much, Honorable Prime Minister. Just before the whip, the leader of opposition comes in, I just have a few messages. There are not many, so I'll read them. From the Democratic Party, President, the Democratic Party learned with deep sorrow of the death of former Minister of Public Service, 1961, Member of Parliament for Ankole Northeast Constituency, Honorable Boniface Muyogoma Byanyima. We remember him as a national chairman in the DP. When political parties were banned in 1969, he was among the 6 DP members of Parliament who remained on opposition. His contribution in the field of politics is not, however, not only a part of his legacy. In his disturbingly unassuming way, his life was a moral challenge to corruption and the arrogance of power. He was defined by incorruptibility, consistency, and uncompromising integrity. He served Uganda and led the Democratic Party with distinction and leaves a legacy we should emulate. We convey deep condolences to the Parliament of Uganda through the Speaker. That's from the Democratic Party. The Forum for Democratic Change, Secretary General, says on behalf of that's Honorable Nandala Mafabi. On behalf of the Forum for Democratic Change, I would like to express our deepest sorrow and condolence to the family of Mzee Boniface Byanyima. Uganda has lost a strong advocate, a hero, and visionary leader. The nation has lost a strong pillar who understood that education and good governance can help grow the economy and, most importantly, improve the daily lives of ordinary citizens. There is simply no replacement for what Mzee Byanyima represented and what he contributed to Uganda and the world at large. For his entire life, he chose to live a simple life, but principled to matters affecting society. He advocated for the rule of law that intended to improve better living conditions of the citizens of Uganda, and above all, a father who groomed and shaped the sons and daughters to useful citizens in this country. We recognize and appreciate how consistently he stood for truth and justice in all his life. It's a great loss to the family, the DP, political fraternity, and will be missed by the entire country. From the Government Chief Whip, on behalf of the NRM caucus, she says, I learned of the sad news of the passing on of Mzee Byanyima, which occurred on Tuesday, 16th May 2017. Mzee Byanyima was one of the important people who played a significant role in managing the transition period during post-independence Uganda. He was a man of principles who spoke his mind all the time. He shall be missed for his enormous contribution to the country. On behalf of the NRM Parliamentary Caucus and my own behalf, we share the grief of the family of Mzee Byanyima. I beseech the good Lord to make all of you strong in this trying moment. That's Honorable Nankabirwa Central Government Chief Whip. Also enclosed, but it's not here, the 500,000 shillings. She has contributed from the caucus 500,000 shillings. Honorable the Leader of Opposition. Okay, yeah. I acknowledge the receipt of the 500,000 shillings.
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, on behalf of the opposition in Parliament and outside Parliament, and on behalf of the people of Kasese whom I represent in this House, I raise to second a motion moved by the Prime Minister for a resolution of Parliament to pay tribute to the late Honorable Boniface Byanyima, former MP Ankole Northeast Constituency in the Legislative Council. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, we are here yet on a sad note, but I will say not really a sad note because we are celebrating life. I stand here to celebrate life that has been well lived. Many people, when we lose our dear ones, we mourn, we cry, we weep. But a life of Mzee Byanyima needs to be celebrated. Mzee, we say bye to you with mixed feelings. Feelings of joy, feelings of happiness, as we thank the Almighty God for giving you to us as a gift. Mzee Byanyima was a special gift to this nation and to the world at large. Like the Prime Minister did mention, and the many condolence messages from the so many individuals as read by the Speaker, it is indeed true that we are saying bye to a man of high level of integrity. Integrity that is now a lacking virtue in many of Ugandans. Mzee Byanyima lived an incorruptible life, just like the Prime Minister said. But when you look at your sides, you will see many people who are so much lacking in that aspect. The gentleman lying in state here, Right Honorable Speaker, was a parent, and a true parent. A parent who not only gave his children the best, but gave them love. He loved his children. Even when he was a disciplinarian, you would see them as if they are just brothers and sisters in the home. When you reach the Byanyima house, you would just see a UN hat in him, because he would receive people from all walks of life, irrespective of their status, irrespective of their religion, irrespective of their color. He was indeed a man with a big heart. I came to know Mzee Byanyima at a personal level in 2000, when I came in close contact with the daughter, Honorable Winnie Byanyima, who is among the political actors that I continuously admire, and I admired at that time, and she's one of those who mentored me politically. Winnie introduced me to the father as one of the sisters from the mountains of Rwenzori, and was saying, "Daddy, here is your other daughter, lost but found." But the man was excited, and he would treat me like he had his real daughter in the house. His house was always full of tea. You love calling it African tea. And yet the milk is from Ankole. It's African milk. The Bazungu will call it black. You will call it African tea. Even here we shall call it African tea. Ankole tea, if I may call it. He was a man of a rare character. Unlike the politics of today, where people have price tags on their political life, Mzee Byanyima didn't have a tag for his political career. Even when goodies were swindled in his face, for him to go to a government and serve, he believed in what he believed in. He remained steadfast, and no amount of money, no amount of titles would change what he believed in. Mzee, you are a hero. You are really a hero. And you are a true believer in truth and justice. The old man sleeping here was an advocate of equal opportunities for all. During their time, and as the dictates of the African culture, girls were looked at in a different perspective. But Mzee Byanyima broke the ceiling by treating his daughters at the same level with the sons, telling his daughters that even girls can even do better. And it was no surprise when one of his daughters became the first flight engineer of this country, and I would say even of the region. For those who believe in equal opportunities for all, Mzee Byanyima was a candle. He was a true educationist who believed in what he taught. Like you've heard, he nurtured many of his students, including His Excellency, the President of this country. Many of our teachers are doing the teaching service to earn a living. Not that they really cherish and love the profession. But Mzee Byanyima knew his students by name, which challenges they faced, and he was ready to get involved in making sure that his students carry on with their education. That is how he was even able to take on the current president of the Republic of Uganda. And there are many out there who have gone through Mzee Byanyima's hands as a teacher and as a mentor. Muzei, you did your part in this country. We are remaining with the challenge of shaping the political actors of this nation. To know that you become what you believe, and that whenever people look at you, they should see what you believe even in your actions. That's what he believed in. He was a true member of the Democratic Party, to the extent that even when his son-in-law contested, Muzei Byanyima still believed in his DP and said, I can't vote for anyone apart from DP, which is not very common these days. People may be DP in the day, but at night they are different. It is the same. They will be FDC in the day, at night they are different. Muzei Byanyima remained a Democrat at night, in the morning, and during the day. This sitting is well deserving, Honorable Boniface Byanyima. Muzei Byanyima believed in each one of us bringing a tofali for building this nation. Like the Prime Minister did mention, he participated in the transition from colonialism to post-colonial era. He was still ready to participate in a transition from a Museveni regime to another regime. It is unfortunate he has not really participated in this transition from Museveni to another person. He has just seen from Museveni to Museveni, from Museveni to Museveni. And you know, as a country, we are losing out from the brains that should really be putting us to order. Not long ago, we are burying the former presidential commissioner, a man of unquestionable character, just like Muzei Byanyima. And we believe it is these elders who would be going to for counsel. We are losing a library of this nation. We are losing a caliber that can even call the president of the nation and say, sit here and I tell you how you should behave. It is unfortunate that very few are remaining in this country. Unfortunately, Muzei had a special name for His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, Tibahaburwa. He had that one. He would not accept advice. And no wonder that whoever advises him is looked at as an opponent or as an enemy, and therefore must be behind bars. Muzei Byanyima, you have played your part. Your candle will continue to live from generation to generation because you gave life to many people, many Ugandans that went through your hands. The many that have gone through your hands have subsequently trained others. We shall always remember you for your high level of integrity, for the high level of education that you cherished, and he has died thinking the education system of Uganda should be a system that will have high caliber of leaders. We want to thank you, Muzei Byanyima, for setting that example to all Ugandans. Right Honorable Speaker, like I said, we are here to celebrate a life well lived. I will say, Muzei, rest in peace. This world is a stage where each one of us come and they play their part. You have played your part. It was indeed a better part of life that you played. Fare thee well. God gave us and he has taken away. May his name be glorified. Rest in peace, Muzei.
Thank you. Honorable Bariyanga. Bariyanga. The independents. Come on. Skate for the independents. Order, please. Honorable Boss,
Well, thank you, the Right Honourable Speaker. At my age, I would say that the person lying before us is an example and a great one. I have heard from the Prime Minister. I also heard from the Leader of Opposition. And I heard other condolence messages from the DP and FDC. What is important is to note that the late Mzee Byanyima was a great man. And what distinguishes him is that he lived a life of honesty and integrity. He was principled. It's a challenge to us, Right Honourable Speaker. As politicians in this House, he lived both in government, he served in government, and also in opposition. He has gone while we still have opposition and government, the two sides of the House. And where I wonder what he would have done if he was in our House today, where suspicion overrides reason, where name-calling could be taken as the order of the day. Madam Speaker, as I was even coming here, behind me you had to protect me. Where I'm seated was by design. I wish I could be Mzee Byanyima one day in this House and use the principles.
Honour members, this is solemn occasion.
And I believe that it's very sad that we are paying tribute to a very principled person. I thought we would be learning, but all he did is in vain. I wish Mzee Byanyima would stay a little while and educate the opposition and the ruling that we need one another. That even when you don't agree with some person, you have to respect. A lot has been said that you remained faithful to DP. That was a choice you made. Can we remain faithful where we are, even when it is hurting, like you did? Can we remain faithful to the cause of this nation, even when it is not possible? Paying tribute to a man that has lived nearly over 90 years and was principled. I said this when we were seeing off the late Presidential Commissioner Olwal. People are peaceful. He was described as a peaceful person. He has been described as a very principled person. People who are peaceful and principled live a little longer. A little wonder that you keep on fighting each other and we die young. You quarrel with Oboth because he's not agreeing with you, and Oboth is not even aware. That's why we develop heart problems. In this parliament, Madam Speaker, I am honored to stand in on behalf of the independents and pay tribute to a gallant Ugandan. I think he lived as a Ugandan, first of all, but not as a DP. The principles he had were as a Ugandan. It is a challenge to us, the young generation, that will not make him to turn in his grave when we live a life that is, we are something else during the day and something else during the night. How I wish that we would thank the parents of Mzee Boniface Byanyima, and his family. He grew up, nobody would have known, but his talent, his skills, his character made way. The Right Honorable Prime Minister stated that he was consistent. Consistency in life overcomes resistance. I believe he overcame a lot. That's why he was not compromising. Why are we compromising these days? Because we are not consistent. I am an independent member of parliament in this house, and I watch both sides trying to do what they call politics, but actually it's a game. Whoever on the other side may refuse to accept just because it is coming from another side, that nothing good would come from government, we continue opposing. And nothing good would come from the opposition, and we continue also opposing, but also while in government. How I wish that we can define national objectives of this country, and we pursue them, that will take this country to a better place than Mzee Byanyima left. Madam Speaker, in this country, and this is my second term in Parliament, I rarely do what I'm doing. I don't like paying tribute in this house or anywhere else, because the death of any person in anywhere, as one author said, consumes part of me. It is a sad reminder to the family of the Byanyimas. They have lost a father, a relative. To us, he could be a friend, could be just a political mentor. But to this nation, he played his part, both pre-independence and post-independence. We thank you, Mzee Byanyima. Continue haunting us all as we think about you and the principles you cherished, so that we can be true politicians in this country and we provide leadership and not just merely taking a walk. May your principles continue to give us no rest until we get more Boniface Byanyimas in this country. May God give you rest. I believe you're a restful person because you've lived a life in its fullness. May God grant you the masses where you are. And as you go, you are just ahead of us. That journey, none of us listening now is short of. We are all on transit. You've only gone ahead of us. We shall meet you there.
Thank you very much. I still have two seconders, Honorable Sewungu and Honorable Michael Tumusiime, then we shall get the others. No, I have a list and the names are there. But gentlemen welcoming Mr. Elias Lukwago, the mayor of Kampala. I don't know where he's seated. Yes, there he is. You're welcome. Also, gentlemen welcoming the Honorable Honorable Kasamba, our East African Community Member of Parliament. Welcome, Honorable Loki Abrams, former member of the National Assembly. Welcome. Now, Honorable Sewungu, and then Honorable Tumusiime.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, I also stand to support the motion. And indeed, Madam Speaker, let me make my preamble by saying that teachers are always very strong. And it's very rare to find a teacher who cannot manage society. And that's what we are seeing here. And indeed, I pray that God also gives you that kind of knowledge to steer my party to those levels. Madam Speaker, the Democratic Party, the core values, and basically the people who managed to steer this party to where it is up to now, though, factually speaking, we have issues that disturb us, where these people, the Boniface. The stone, the foundation, the effort they put into the Democratic Party is what is still steering the party. It's so interesting that this is a party which was briefly in government, and some believe that it has never been in government, but it's still strong. I want to thank the Almighty God who gave us Boniface Byanyima. Madam Speaker, as he has been read by the right Prime Minister, truly in 1962, like it is happening now, members were bought. And in politics, this happens. It's not about your conscience that will keep you stable where you belong. But you imagine of this gentleman, a strong man from Ankole region, not being bribed to cross the other side of the government. And even 1986, when the government was overthrown, Byanyima never crossed to any side. He remained a Democratic Party member. But Madam Speaker, there is an interesting scenario in the DP. There was that period between registration of political parties, and the DP had a very big war between its members. Those for the registration of the party and those against the registration of the party. And the national chairman was Boniface Byanyima. I want to tell you, Madam Speaker, this gentleman here, lying in front of us here, this strong son of Uganda, managed to move the party. Democrats, where are those brains? When do we use those brains of this kind of people to manage conflicts within ourselves? It's true. I was so impressed this afternoon when I saw the chief whip, government chief whip. Also, she said, no, so for today, let me put on something similar to green. Maybe the spirit sometimes comes within. I always ask myself, Boniface Byanyima, Madam Speaker, Boniface Byanyima, there is being a supporter of the party, physically, spiritually, socially, and morally, but the issue of economic interest comes later. Are you in the Democratic Party because you support the party? What are those core values you take into the party? That's what you should emulate from Boniface Byanyima. When you are supporting the Democratic Party, are you supporting the party? When you are in NRM, or in the other party, what are the core values you emulate from that party? This is what the man lying in front of us was having in the Democratic Party. I have already stated here on this microphone, Madam Speaker, that this government, this country, needs a council of elders. Actually, if DP was in power, this would have been one of our ministers, as he was in the 1961. But how do you, Right Honourable Prime Minister, how do you use these strong people who are not corrupt, who are very useful, you have given information, how do you use them to steer government? If we are using councils of elders, if you had a council of elders in this country, you don't even need presidential advisors. Because those are the people who will talk to you and you feel that what they are saying is useful. Madam Speaker, I want to say this. In Democratic Party, if there's anybody who members could go to seek knowledge from them, but with attention, was Boniface. And you could get close to him, he says, I know why you have come here, but I will do this and that because of this particular reason. And all of us would get a consensus. That's what Boniface Byanyima was. Integrity. Integrity. It's not easily achieved, and it's not campaigned for, neither is it sold. It comes by your conduct. That people will always say this man is a person of high integrity. You can never say, I'm a man of integrity. Where is your district depending on yourself? It's the population out there to say. That's why we are saying Boniface Byanyima was a man of integrity. And he has never said it to himself, but it's there. So, as I conclude, Madam Speaker, I want to pass this prayer through God, and it will go directly through Boniface Byanyima, as he's going to sit at the right hand of the Father. When you get there, always pray for the Democratic Party. Tell him that this party is very strong. It has intelligent people. But bring kindly, can you send my knowledge, my brain, understanding to the supporters of the party to move the party so that it can enter government? That prayer will keep us there. I want to thank the Democrats here on both sides. Madam Speaker, I wish to send a condolence message through the President of the Democratic Party to the family. We want to thank government for offering this official send-off. And indeed, we are appreciative. And we thank you so much, Mr. Prime Minister, for all the arrangements you have done. But all that, in the spirit of the Democratic Party, we thank you, and we shall always work to see that the Democratic Party comes into power, emulating from our father. May his soul rest in peace.
Tusime Michael.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, I, without any hesitation or reservation, associate myself with a motion that was moved by the Right Honorable Prime Minister. His polite and factual remarks about Mzee Byanyima. When I learned of the death of Mzee Byanyima, I was greatly saddened, since I was one of the admirable, dependable elders in my constituency. At the time of the death of Mzee Byanyima, he lived in Ruizi Cell, which is located in Ruti Ward, in Nyamtanga Division of Umbara Municipality and of Umbara District. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, rightly so, as the Right Honorable Prime Minister stated, Mzee Byanyima studied from the schools of Umbara District in both his ordinary and A levels, which schools many of us attended. Right Honorable Speaker, right from my childhood, I got an opportunity to know Mzee Byanyima as an educated, a focused, a diligent and hardworking person who exhibited love for his country and his heritage. The people of Umbara are honored to have shared his knowledge and mentorship when he was posted as a teacher at Umbara High School, wherein he inspired many young people to focus in life. I can therefore affirm the testimonies of many of his students, most of whom became influential personalities in Uganda, partly due to Mzee Byanyuma's effort to get the best out of them. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I have closely associated with the family of Mzee Byanyima, and I can say with certainty that Mzee Byanyima was a family man who monitored and groomed not only his biological children, but was generous with a big heart, which he demonstrated by looking after and nurturing several other children in the community. Madam Speaker and honorable members, during the time of his service as a member of the Legislative Council, representing the people of North Ankole from 1961 to 1971, it is said that he truly executed his mandate with honesty, and he was very down to earth, approachable, and always available to offer counsel to his people. As a member of parliament representing the constituency where Mzee Byanyima was residing, the people of Umbara Municipality and I shall greatly miss him, and we pray that the character and legacy he has left can be emulated by many of us for the betterment of our country. We thank the good Lord for the gift of Mzee Byanyima to us, and we thank him as well for his enormous contribution to the development of our nation. We therefore pray for his family, and we request to God and pray to God, provide them with comfort during this trying moment. May his soul rest in eternal peace. I thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you very much, the movers and the seconders. Order members, now that the movers and seconders have finished, we shall revert to the 3 minutes. So let me now start with the Colonel Fred Mwesige. Mwesige first, then I'll decide.
Thank you. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker and honourable colleagues, I rise also to join my colleagues and the Prime Minister to support the motion of honouring this great African. Right Honourable Speaker, in 1962, I was a student at Kazo Primary School, and I was in the primary 4, and I saw a very smart young man dressed in a green white strip jacket, and he was campaigning for DP. He was followed by my close relatives, Grace Vingira and Let Kawazairi. But my heart felt that I should join this brilliant, smart young man. Although I was not active in politics, but at least I admired this great African. And from that time, I continued admiring him. And I was a member of DP until I joined the UPM when we went to fight for democracy in this country. Right Honourable Speaker, I want to thank government for honouring him because he deserved it. On behalf of all the people of Nyabushozi, and on my behalf and that of my family, I wish to express my deepest and most sincere condolences to the family, the loved ones, and the people of Nyabushozi, Ankole, and Uganda at large during this difficult time. The country mourns with you, members of the family, but at the same time celebrates the extraordinary life of this remarkable elder who devoted his life to peacefully protecting and serving his country. We should all emulate this legacy, and we should be able to stand as an example in pursuit of the principle that he stood for: progress for his country, patriotism, nationalism, and peace and justice. Mzee Byanyima, may God rest your soul in peace. God bless you. God bless Uganda. Thank you.
Honorable Tayewa, Pentagon, Millie, Sylvia, then I cross the side.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I join my colleagues in mourning our Mzee. Right Honourable Speaker, some of us who were born in the 80s, some of our colleagues might be for 90s. I think when we check around and we look for people on whom you can form a party, and for example, you say DP Egumire, people of that foundation, you see a few. And, Right Honourable Speaker, even the few we see, I'm concerned as a Ugandan. We have been mourning people here, but these are people, some of us just here when they are coming here. Unlike Mzee Byanyima. Recently, I was with his son, my friend Anthony, who happens to be here, around 1 month ago, and I was asking him that, has your father written a book so that we can know about his thoughts? And he told me they are working on it. Most of our elder people, most of our role models, they are dying. We don't have anything documented about them. We don't have their thoughts. I think, Right Honourable Prime Minister, through you, Madam Speaker, government should take the initiative to finance some of these elders, or they do a project whereby they can put down their thoughts, which will be guiding people like us who never got a chance to associate with them when they were doing these historic acts. Right, Honorable? Some of us will always read about such a great people, and I believe it will help shape some of us to ensure we also be role models to some other young people. With that, may Mzee soul rest in peace.
Pentagon, then Millie, then Sylvia, then I cross the side.
Thank you,
Then
Madam
I cross the
Speaker.
last round here.
As an old boy on Barra High School, I spent 6 years in Barra High School. I was lucky to attend to a school where Mzee had done a good foundation. I associated with some of his children. I associated with some of the people he mentored. I remember in 2001, when Honorable Engineer Winnie Byanyima came looking for votes in Barra High School, I was in senior 5. Because of the relationship we had and her having attended Maryhill, we were so close, Barra High School and Maryhill. I commanded my colleagues, the fellow students, and we pushed her car for about 4 kilometers, and the engine was off, to demonstrate that relationship. As OBs of Barra High School, even on our platform, we are not saddened by the days of Mzee because he has served his purpose. We feel that he has gone to rest. And indeed, we should celebrate the good time and the deeds that he has done to this country. Finally, there are certain occurrences that happen for the good. I see now we are having so many different families together. Those who used to be together, and they have come together because of the days of Mzee Byanyima. I want to imagine that this can be a good beginning for those in government where I am in NRM, and the other ones in opposition who look like surely we are together. When I look around and from the look of things, I believe that we can start from here and we become together again. And that would create good leadership, and it would probably make Mzee's spirit rest, because I'm sure he has been working for the betterment and togetherness of Ugandans. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
No, Mugeni.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. On behalf of the people of Obutaleja District and on behalf of Bukit Sub-Region, I would like to add my voice to the other members in celebrating the life of Mzee Byanyima. Mzee Byanyima was born in the same year with my grandfather, the late Danny Hiria Mubene, so I have no doubt that he is also my grandfather. I also celebrate his life, that he was a very good mentor. The leader of opposition said that he had a special name for His Excellency YKM7, but this showed that he could handle stubborn and bright children as well, as we can see from the fruits that in the 20 years that we have had YKM7, he has been exemplary, just like his mentor. I would like to say that as leaders in this generation, we must borrow a leaf from the life of Mzee Byanyima, that just as we have heard his CV speaking for himself, what will others speak about us when we are in that state? At times as politicians, when we are at barriers, we fail to find what to speak about some people. You actually try to fidget around about what you will say about somebody. But this is a lesson to us leaders who are here today, that we must make our lives very important to this nation, so that those who will give speeches at our burials don't get hard times to find what to say. I want to say that to the family of the Byanyimas, just like others have said, my grandfather used to tell me that study harder and be like Engineer Winnie Byanyima. And I'm proud of you. You have made us proud as women of this country. And I want to say that what is important now is for you, the children who have been left behind, to carry on the legacy of your father. And the candle continues to shine in this country. And I would like to dedicate to you as a family Psalms 23, which says that the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. May the soul of Mzee Byanyima rest in eternal peace. Amen.
Let's finish with the member from leader. Okay, then Otaf, then I go to, then I come this side. No. Let Honorable Kelu first.
Thank you very much. The Right Honorable Speaker, on my behalf and on behalf of the people of Otuke, whom I represent, I want to share the condolence message. And as people were reading the history of Mzee, I deduced two things. In this world, people can be known for two things. That is the character. You can be known for your good character, and whoever hears of your name and the characters will always either put the heart at rest or the heart remains trembling. I am happy that the life that Mzee led, whoever hears, the heart can be at rest, but the heart cannot tremble. Some weeks ago, we had the body of Mzee, who was my clan head. He had a similar character, and everybody, wherever they were hearing of his names and characters, their hearts were at rest. And when you hear of the education background, all these were educationists. That means whoever leads this country in a very good way and with integrity will mean either 80 or 70% of their education background are teachers. As a representative of teachers and one of them, if this one was to be a church, the Right Honorable Speaker, I would have prophesied that the next president of this country must be a teacher for integrity to remain, as we had been thinking of what can be done for the legacy of these people to come up. The Right Honorable Speaker and members, yes, in most cases, we say good things about our people when they died, but there is always...
members, this is a solemn occasion, please. Yes.
There is always nothing that comes up for the remembrance. I know when the body goes to Mbarara, they will talk of having either a university in the memory of the late Mzee, or they will talk of a monument or something because he was a cultural leader. But I really pray as government, we need to support that, so that even those ones who are not yet born can hear and their heart can remain at rest, just as we are talking about it. Thank you very much.
Honorable Otafaya.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Perhaps once in 100 years, a man like the late Byanyima here comes along. A man whose capacity to persevere and to bear without pain and anguish makes you distinguished. I've known the late Byanyima since I became active in politics. And perhaps I should apologize to him for the unkind songs we used to sing about the DP when we were young. But every time we met, he knew I didn't support DP, but he felt bound and duty to give me advice. And he always advised me to support not the Democratic Party, but support Uganda. And I would like to tell Oren Sandre that I don't support NRM, I support Uganda. And ipso facto, because NRM supports Uganda, I support NRM. Ladies and gentlemen, I am beyond Uganda, I support Africa. I am a Pan-Africanist. I am an African first, a Ugandan second, then NRM third, and everything else follows. That's the ilk of the late Byanyima. That was his mold. He believed in unity. He believed in fairness. That's why he always tendered advice so that we could make this country better than it is. And that should be the calling of everybody who thinks they've got something to contribute to the making of this country. We choose to live asunder, much as we are ideologically different. To be of opposite opinion does not mean we've got to be subversive. Opposition is not subversion, and that lesson the late Byanyima learned and professed very well. We can live together, we can disagree, but we must not tear the edifice that is Uganda down. It's our responsibility to uphold this country. We can choose neighbors and friends. We cannot choose relatives. And flanked together in this body politic called Uganda by history and circumstances, we must uphold it and we must tolerate each other. Let's give. Thank you.
Ona Mwijuke, Twinamasiko, Atuhaire. Let's start with those first. Come to you.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, on behalf of the people of Buhweju, where the late was born and raised, I want to support the motion and deliver a condolence message on behalf of the people I represent, the people of Buhweju. Right Honourable Speaker, the history of Mzee Byanyima in Buhweju is very strong in the villages of Kamuhiga, Rushayo, where he grew from. A lot has been said about the old man, but I think, Right Honourable Speaker, anybody who went through his hands and did not become exemplary was really very hard-hearted. Right Honourable Speaker, I have come to learn that you don't have to follow people because they are many, but once you know that you're doing the right thing, even when nobody is following you, you still go on. When you know that what you're doing is right, and that I learned from him. At some stage, just like me, at some point, he was the only opposition member of parliament in Ankole. Just like me. And for him, truth and justice was not just a slogan, it was a way of life. We have very many slogans. Some people talk about one Uganda, one people. Others talk about truth and justice. Others don't know, but they say no change. But that you live what you believe in is for me very important. He was not a political chameleon. Some people are green today, tomorrow they are yellow, then they go back to, in 5 years somebody has been in 5 political parties. he was very consistent. Somebody said, I am seated where I am seated because of, he said, by design. I really want us to emulate the old man, so that you don't sit where you're seated by design, but that you by conviction. That you believe in what you are, in what you say.
Otinamasko, then Jacqueline. Okay, I've seen.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. On behalf of the people of Bogangais East, I join colleagues to pay tribute to Mzee Byanyima, and we thank God for the 97-year journey of Mzee Byanyima on this earth. A lot has been said about the late Major Byanyima, or the late Honorable Mzee Byanyima. I wouldn't love to repeat the same. However, Madam Speaker, I just want to put across one major item. The generation of Mzee Byanyima, the generation of Mzee Hunter, who died of recent, it was a blessed generation. Unlike today's generation that appears to be confused. Madam Speaker, their generation, in the generation, they were living naturally, they were eating naturally, they had natural foods, they could even take herbs to cleanse themselves, you know, even whenever they weren't sick, but just to remain healthy. Their child spacing, family planning methods were natural, unlike today's generation that is totally confused, Madam Speaker. And you know, that's why they are living long, 97 years. And most of us might not reach in 7 years, just like Mzee Byanyima, but me I will. Madam Speaker, today's generation is living artificially. We are eating artificial foods. Family planning methods are artificial. And you know, maybe this is why many women at times these days give birth through cesarean operations. Because the artificial things, many things are artificial. Madam Speaker, of recent, some girls even go somewhere in Kampala, in Endeavour, to get some enlargement on some of their parts, like here, to enlarge. And those injections are not really healthy. All these artificial means of living. Is it Mundewa there? These things are very bad. Madam Speaker, our medications are artificial. So, Madam Speaker, I think we need to get back to our roots. The roots of Mzee Byanyima, because they were living a very natural life and they were healthy. 97 years. So, honorable members, we must accept that the generation of Mzee Byanyima was a very wise generation. And we can also bet ours. For instance, Madam Speaker and honorable members.
Honorable Jacqueline, then Akena, Lucy, Chivumbi. Let's start with those first. I've seen you, Mukulu, I've seen you. I've seen you.
Thank you, Honorable Madam Speaker. Atwire Jacqueline Rwabukuru, woman representative Shema. Mzee Byanyima, the late Mzee Byanyima taught with my father at Mbarara High School. The late Mzee Kosia Rwabukuru. They were in DP together. My father by then was the deputy of Tarasis Kawejere, very strong DP. He was a principled man. That much I really know about it. Very principled. He stood by his beliefs despite all odds. He was sincere, he was honest, with a lot of integrity. And by that, he won admiration of those that know him, actually as well as wrath by those who envied him. His legacy lives on in his children, as you see them there, especially his daughter Winnie Byanyima, who is also my role model, and actually the reason why you see me stand here. Where is the husband? Honorable Kano, you are most welcome. His qualities, like I said, are exhibited in his children. My appeal to this August House is that as a tribute to Mzee Byanyima, we strive to emulate his distinguished service for this nation and ensure that his contribution in building our nation is successfully accomplished. Mzee Byanyima actually is my father-in-law, because my eldest sister is married to his first son, I may call him, Lieutenant Colonel Napoleon Rutambika. And before I sit, I would like this August House, and on my behalf, to take this opportunity and thank one family member, not honorable, I'm giving you, Edith Byanyima, for looking after our Mzee. I know through sin and thick, you've been there, you've looked after him when others have been away, like Kombozi in America, Honorable Winnie on his official jobs. But Edith, thank you very, very, very much for being there and looking after this Mzee. May God bless you, and may your soul, Mzee, rest in peace.
Nova Akena, Kivumbi, Akelo. Then we are moving well. We are moving well. Don't worry.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. On behalf of the Uganda People's Congress, I would like to extend our sincere condolences to the family and to the greater family of the Democratic Party for the loss of a great nationalist. Madam Speaker, I'll beg your indulgence if I cannot complete within time, just I get a little extra time to make some important points.
Just do the highlights.
This is the highlights, Madam Speaker. I concur completely with everything that has been said about Mzee Byanyima. The members of the Democratic Party alluded to his integrity, his principles, and even some went to say that in this day and age, those principles are lacking. But there's an important point which many people may not know, is that the late Mzee Byanyima and my late father remained good friends despite being on different political sides. They remained in communication in good times and in bad times. And throughout that, it even went further. The late Gertrude Byanyima was the Western Regional Head of the Uganda School Supplies, which was a subsidiary of the Milton Obote Foundation. And what bound them was their commitment to education. Despite having different political views, they agreed with one another on the importance of education, and where there was an opportunity to further education, they were united. As a nation, we need to be able to look beyond some of our political issues. In this day and age, if such a cooperation was happening, the statements, as we've already heard in this parliament, people say, Byanyima has been bought. He was never bought. He stuck by his principles. But there's a greater good which needs to be pursued. I also want to bring up an important aspect, and here, unfortunately, I have to take my good friend and elder brother, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, to task. What happened in 1969 was not captured adequately. And this is something which This generation and future generations need to understand full well the situation Uganda found itself in. Unfortunately, we had great nationalists like Mzee Byanyima to keep this nation together. In November of 1969, the first president of Uganda, Sir Edward Mutesa, passed away in London. In the death certificate, the cause of death was put as alcohol poisoning. To this day, there are those who do not believe that, but take it that the alcohol was poisoned. In December of the same year, coming from a delegates conference in Lugogo, the executive president of Uganda that time was shot in the head, just 2 inches below the temple. While he was recuperating in Mulago Hospital, unable to speak, there was an emergency cabinet meeting. And it is at a cabinet meeting whereby a statutory instrument was issued which stopped political activities for 6 months. Now, the circumstances from the very death of Sir Edward Mutesa, there was absolute tension in Uganda, especially around Buganda. Immediately thereafter, the president survives an assassination attempt. There was a great chance that Uganda could be torn apart.
Okay, 1 minute for the history. Just one. I don't know.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for this. But the issue which I'm stressing, if Uganda is going to undergo such great shocks, do we have amongst us great nationalists who can look beyond our political party differences and see the greater good of Uganda? And that is the example which Mzee Byanyima leaves us. I often, when I would go to Mbarara, I would be a visitor in Ruti in the home of Mzee Byanyima. I was always welcomed and treated very well. We must be able to look beyond our political differences and struggle for the greater good of Uganda. And here I agree with the Honorable Minister Otafire. Let us put Uganda first, even though I remain a committed congressman through and through. May the soul of Mzee Byanyima rest in eternal peace.
Honorable Chivumbi, then Honorable Lucy.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I stand to associate myself with the motion as moved by the Prime Minister. Right Honorable Speaker, around 2009-2000, I went to Ruti with the late Anthony Wagaba Sekweyama. By that time, Anthony Wagaba Sekweyama was attempting to be a president of the Democratic Party. If you want to understand the character of the gentleman we are paying tribute to, it's that moment that defines his character. We were welcomed in the home by his wife, the late Gertrude Byanyima. As we were, before we could sit down, Mzee appeared from a small room. He greeted the late Anthony Wagaba Sekweyama and said, "Oh, I know why you've come here. You want to be a president of DP? I don't support you. And I will not vote for you. And I will tell people not to vote for you." And he said for 2 reasons. One, I will not accept anybody to take over from, he used to call Dr. Semogere Paul, from Paul, who is a Catholic and a Muganda. If the next president is to be a Catholic, he said, you go to Gulu for that young man. If it's to be a Muganda, go to the mayor, Sevana Chizito. And that's what, and he said, now you can have tea, but shall not discuss that at all. And that's a done deal. So that's the character of the man. An attempt by the late Anthony Sekweyama to open that conversation met a huge roadblock. And he said, but you don't stay in a hotel. At the end of the day, if you are here for 3 days, stay here, you'll be fed, and do your campaigns. But you know, I will not support you. The next time we interacted with him, he was the chief guest to our anniversary of Uganda Younger Democrats. he used the word impeccable. He said, as young people, learn to be incapable and have an incapable CV. Impeccable CV. And he said, the disease in this country, so critical to the core, is that you hardly find people who are incapable. Impeccable. The word is impeccable. Who are impeccable. He said he has interacted with the political elite of this country, and that's a crisis. Every one of the people he interacted with lacked that small ingredient. So as we pay tribute, can we summon the courage and become politically impeccable? It's a huge word. He wanted to explain during the dinner what it means and told the stories Honorable is trying to go through, Honorable Akena, in a different version. To be honest, I had a different story, but I'm not going to it. It's the first time that...
Honorable Lucy Akelo. After that, we shall have Honorable Nandala, Hood Katuramu Segona, Kajinda. Then I come back this side. You are here.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to pay my tribute and also to add my voice in a motion that has been raised by the Prime Minister. On behalf of the people of Amuru, allow me to convey my condolence to the family of the Byanyimas. Unlike the previous speakers, I wouldn't claim to have met or spoken to the late Mzee Byanyima. But in my culture, in Acholi, we say that if you want your funeral to be full, then have many girls. And this is a real testimony. Well, the Mzee doesn't have many girls. I see Edith and Winnie, but he invested in them. And for me, this is really what has made me get up here and say a big thank you to Mzee. You imagine somebody who was born in 1920. We have men these days who were born in 1950, but they still do not value that a girl must go to school. I think this is a big challenge to us. This is a big challenge to men who are here. This is a big challenge to men who are in Uganda. And as a woman, I am proud of Mzee Byanyima. I know he has left a big void in the family. I know words like we are celebrating a life well spent has been said here. But for me, something that is not very easy for me to overcome is death. I believe that however old somebody is, that person still has something to do in society. And I know that as a family, even at the age of 90, you would always walk to him and say, you know, Daddy, this and this. This will be no more. But I pray you find solace in all the beautiful words that have been said today, and that you'll allow him to rest in peace. This is my word to you as a family. May God bless you. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Amen.
Thank you. As Honorable Nandala comes, I've received a message from the NRM Secretariat. The National States Movement Party learned with pain the death of Mzee Boniface Byanyima, which occurred on Tuesday, 16th May 2017 at Nakasero Hospital. We thank God for the life of Mzee Byanyima. He was one of the key pillars for the formation and stability of political parties in Uganda, and more so the Democratic Party. He stood out as a principled and trusted leader who weathered the trials and tribulations of the tyrannical regimes of the past. We equally thank him for the guidance and mentorship that he offered to many of the members and leaders of the various political parties in Uganda today. Mzee Boniface Byanyima's life is a life full of testimonies to the many political practitioners and observers. We learned from his illustrious life that political disagreements does not mean hatred. He taught us that we can disagree politically and yet remain friends. Mzee Boniface Byanyima's house was open to many. We have learned that he kept in close contact with the families of his close comrades whom he served with at the DP. For example, he remained close to the family of the late Alexander Datim, who was a fellow member of the DP, a politician from Macholi. For all his contribution to the foundation of democracy in Uganda, we thank him and pray that his soul finds favor before the juries of heaven and as he embarks on his journey to eternity. Signed, Richard Todong, Deputy Secretary General, National Resistance Movement. Honorable Nandala, and then we go to Hood, Segona, Kajinda. Then I come to side.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I also want to pay tribute to Mzee Byanyima, whom I never met at a close range, but I've met his children and I've worked with them. I discovered that if you're a good parent, if you see a kid bad-mannered, then know his mother and father are bad-mannered. But if you see them good-mannered, then you know they are from a good family. In fact, those I've worked with, like Honorable Winnie Byanyima from 2000, her word you can rely on. She never changes. She's a person of integrity, and I have heard that her father is of that nature. I've also heard that the president of Uganda was kept and raised up by Mzee Byanyima. I've also heard that when he was in parliament, he was speaking for Uganda. Even Otafira said, Uganda first. So now this leads me to make this conclusion. That when we come here in parliament, we become MPs for Uganda, not MPs for our local areas, or MPs for a ruling party, or NRM, or FDC, whatever the case, but MPs for Uganda. And when we're doing our work, we should be doing it for Uganda. I feel that our colleagues sometimes, when you say, why has the budget of State House raised? Say, why that person is against the president? Please, we are doing it for people of Uganda. And the day from now, if we are all believing in the late Byanyima, who is sleeping here, that he led Uganda, he talked for Uganda, from now we should start speaking like that. I can see people happy. I even heard my brother, Honorable Kano Mwesige, saying they went to bring democracy, whatever he went to fight for. Instead, what they are supposed to bring, they have swallowed it. They have now made this country full of thugs, corruption. They have taken away what should be there. In fact, Uganda is now managed by a handful of people, mafias, instead of being managed for the people of Uganda.
Honorable Hood Katuramu, Sagona, Kajinda, Mukula, then I come this side, then I come back finally.
I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Word.
I am Hood Katuramu. I represent people with disabilities, Western Region. I support the motion presented by the President to pay tribute to the late Boniface Byanyima. Honorable Speaker, Honorable late Boniface Byanyima worked closely with my elder brother, and they sat in this house together when he was representing Ankole Northwest constituency and my brother was representing Ankole Southeast constituency. They did not hold the same beliefs. Indeed, the late Byanyima lying in front of us was of the Democratic Party and my brother was of the Uganda People's Congress. But that one did not stop them to work and cooperate together for the sake of Uganda. And we are very proud that the input that was made by Mzee Boniface Byanyuma in achieving independence for Uganda, he did not also ignore his native region of Ankole to pacify it. I cannot have an opportunity, maybe, to speak in Ruti, but if I had it, this is what I would have stated. That Mzee Byanyuma played a very significant role as a peacemaker. When the people of Ankole were divided along ethnic and religious lines, he played a very important role to make Ankole united, and maybe Ankole would not be as it is if it were not efforts and the candid support the people like Byanyuma gave to the leaders of Ankole at the time. We shall miss you. What I urge, as some members have said, is that what is important today in Uganda is not to belong to a political party or a religion, name it. But Ugandans need to emulate people like Byanyuma, that we devise a peaceful mechanism to promote peaceful coexistence for the development of this country. These were people who were selfless. They did not have any greed for self-aggrandizement. It is a family in Ankole that we are proud of, because it is a family that has lived moderately. The positions which the late Byanyuma occupied.
Now Segona, then Kajinda, then Mukula, then
I thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for allowing me to speak about somebody I
sorry.
know.
Let me introduce Honourable Richard Todong, Deputy Secretary General of the NRM. He's here to witness the proceedings. Honourable Evie Ekwao, also a member of the 9th Parliament. Yes, Honourable Secretary.
Thank you. I believe my 3 minutes now start running. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for allowing me to speak about somebody I know. And this is my chairman of the party. 2, my client, who gave me work as a young person from law school. I want to thank government for according him this official funeral, and I want to believe that if we were in government, we would have done much better. Right Honourable Speaker, a lot has been said about my chairman, about principles, and I would want to take on from there. Those that are talking about a principled life must live a principled life. I want to thank the President who visited the family and comforted them yesterday. And of course the stories that the President told us about the late Boniface Byanyima as a champion of modern agriculture in Ankole region. In one of the issues I was handling for the late Boniface Byanyima was to do with his ranch. Who grabbed the man's ranch? Has he been paid? Or this is how Ugandans pay? Those that do good to them. Those that opted to distribute his ranch had a very fundamental argument of equitable sharing of resources. Today, they have much more which we are not sharing with them. 2, about the contribution of Honorable Byanyima in the field of education. I thank him through his family. Today, we celebrate his good life. We are not celebrating good schools in our country. The schools have gone to shambles and tatters. I know he's grieving in this casket. A lot has been destroyed. Talk about democracy, human rights, things that he stood for in this parliament. When we have people rotting in Alfenya, is that how we celebrate a good life? I want to thank him for raising his children. Good children, and a lot has been said about them. Let's go back and reflect how many times we've been battering his children on the streets. I am a minister for justice on this side. Is that how we do justice to men and women in this country? And then we stand here to praise good men. I think that's an insult to good men when we praise them on the microphone and we talk about emulating them without emulating them. He taught me, even as his lawyer, you would draft a document for him, he would come with his red pen and his wonderful late wife. They would edit and start giving you marks. And one day I had to ask them, why didn't you do it? He said, you know, I'm a teacher, so I am teaching you how to write good English. I am grateful to the old man. I also want to thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving us an opportunity to celebrate the life of our chairman. And as a party, we shall miss him. The only thing we can do is to invite his children back to the party. To come back from political exile.
Honorable Kajinda. Roland, Rukunjiri, we are going to Rukunjiri now.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to join my colleagues, pay tribute to the family of Mzee Byanyima. Right Honorable Speaker, Mzee Byanyima is among the first Ugandans to embrace education in this country, because he was a teacher at a time when many teachers in this country were British or Indians. I want to salute him for what he did for this country at that time. But when I was Speaker, this explains why his daughter, Engineer Winnie Byanyima, is the first Ugandan engineer in the aviation industry, aeronautic engineer in Uganda. He cherished education just like us, the people of Rukunjiri. This explains why, when we are looking for the best educated and beautiful lady, we ran to him and he gave us Engineer Winnie Byanyima. I want to thank you, my former president, Kano Chiza Besigye, for leading us, a team from Rukunjiri, to go to Mbalala. And we are with her, she's happy. Right when I was Speaker, Mzee Byanyima was a principled man who always willing and ready to advise others. You can imagine a person to stand in front of our current president and tell him that this is bad or good. You are not an easy person. So we want to thank him for what he did. I don't know, now that he's gone, maybe Ndugu Ruhakana Rugunda, be prepared to do that job. I don't know what you are doing right now, but you should do to help us, because we know him as a person who is not easy to advise. He was also generous, especially in helping the neighboring communities of Ruti, for those people who are from Mbalala, like Honorable Tusime. Right Honorable Speaker, Mzee Byanyima has been, like my colleagues have said, described by many in this country as a selfless man and a politician who loved his country and fought for the rights of the Ugandans. For example, I want to support Honorable Segona in 1986. He openly
Half a minute. Yes. For the Muko.
He openly blamed the government for grabbing the ranches in Churhura and other parts of the country. Madam Speaker, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Okay, Honorable Mukula, then I go to Rosette, Yaguma, Itunga. Oh, there are more. Maybe we'll cut to 2 minutes. Is that okay? Eh?
Okay.
Okay, let's do 2 minutes so that everybody can speak.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Are you an in-law? You are an in-law?
I'm Francis Mukula, representing the people of Agule County. Madam Speaker, I rise here to support the motion. Well, 30 years ago, I dreamt of being a member of parliament. That was in 1986, when I saw President Museveni swearing in a young man. So I admired, I said I should be a leader. In 1994, I was a head prefect in Manjas High School. We lost a student who comes from Kitagata. So as a head prefect, I had to accompany the dead body. In that burial, the father was a strong DP, and Muzei, the late, happened to be there, and I happened to sit near him. There was some young man who wanted to contest as for CA and parliamentary, so I think he was getting advice from Muzei. So I heard Muzei saying, the best weapon to win is having politics of no hatred. Speak your manifesto, and that is all. And after elections, work together. And then two, that the best weapon was to help enemies, woo enemies. That is the thing I picked from Kitagata. And that thing got stuck in my mind. When 2016 was nearing, that is what I applied. I remembered what the late Muzei was advising the young man, and I applied that exactly. And that is one of the weapons.
Honorable Rosette, 2 minutes. Yaguma, 2 minutes. Itungo, 2 minutes. Okay, let's do this side quickly.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. I also am here to support the motion. I'll not repeat what has already been talked about. Mzee Byanyima being an icon of integrity and good governance. But I want to thank him for one thing, that I have been a beneficiary and other people have also beneficiaries of being a champion of women's rights in this country. At the time when he sent Honorable Winnie Byanyima to study, there were very few women as role models. Growing up in Imbarara as a young girl, we were not short of role models because we were aware of the works of the Byanyima daughters. So, and he did it as a parent, as a committed parent. How I wish that all the fathers in this country, including in this house, could take time to mentor their daughters, to have time for their daughters, because such daughters always turn out very well. Honorable Byanyima, Winnie Byanyima, I'm one of the beneficiaries of Forward. I trained a training for young women leaders, and I know it had a lot of impact on me and other young girls. I have also recommended other girls to get that training. So without repeating many of the things that have already been said, I join others to pay tribute to our Muzei, our icon, not only in Mbarara, but our icon in Uganda. And honorable members, the issue of integrity and good governance is a personal decision. It has no party.
Honorable Yaguma, and then Itungo, and I come this side.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I support the motion moved by the Right Honorable Prime Minister. Honorable Speaker, I bring condolences from the people of Kashal North, which is part of the area Honorable Byanyima represented in this house. And I want to specifically also bring condolences from my old mother, who is now 91 years, and the late was her candidate. And every general elections, she keeps asking me, what happened to DP? What happened to DP? Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank God for keeping Honorable late Boniface Byanyima for 96, 97 years, because to be a politician at that time, before NRM came to power in 1986, it was not easy. Very many people died. Even his colleague, Honorable Mwesige mentioned, Gracie Winjira, was arrested and spent 4 or 5 years in prison. So we must thank God that a man of his caliber didn't go to exile and was not killed by government at that time. We should also, Right Honorable Speaker, remind ourselves that those problems where many people died started with the crossing of the floor from that side to that side. And unfortunately, the one who led the crossing, Wataringa, was actually killed. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you on this note specifically, because our colleagues, some of our colleagues are not here.
Honorable Itungo.
They are in Jinja, visiting Narufenya, where torture houses are coming up. I want to appeal to my colleagues, people in Olsolte, to respect peace of others and the lives of others, so that we don't go back to where people had to go to exile, to where people had to die. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Nathan, quickly, then Atiku Samuju, then I get this belt.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues. I also want to bring my condolences from the people of Kashari South, which was part of the constituency of the late. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I want to say that we have lost a parent, we have lost a teacher, and we have lost a mentor. The first time to see the late Mzee Byanyima was in 1987. For those who come from Mbarara and those who know the history of Mbarara High School and entire school, there are always games which they call wars or fights. I was one of the commanders of that game, and from senior 1 to senior 5, we were suspended, but as candidate classes, we remained behind. So they called the candidates from Mbarara High School and entire school, and we met in a playground called Kacheka. And one of the people who was called to talk to the candidates was the late Boniface. Now, after the meeting, he said, you want to talk to the leaders. Then he cautioned us that if you want to be a leader, you must be disciplined. If you want to join army, the barracks is near. You go and join army. Do the right thing at the right time. Time for studies. After studies, you can join the army. And I want to appreciate him that because of that caution, I became disciplined, and I'm now a leader. I'm happy for that. I also want to tell my brothers from the DP side that it is because
Honorable Atiku, then Samuju.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Then we go to attack here, there.
I join the rest of the House in paying tribute and conveying condolence messages to the family of the late Boniface Byanyima, Honorable. Right Honorable Speaker, I bring condolences from my former Member of Parliament, Honorable Dick Nyai, who was a friend to the late. When he heard of this news and of this special sitting, he requested me to pass this message and to have it on record. Right Honorable Speaker, as a young man, in the late, I see a just man. And indeed, he led a just life. We can see it from the records of Parliament. We can see it in his family, the children he has left behind. And everybody who has spoken speaks of a man who led a diligent life. Right Honorable Speaker, what do we learn? What do we have to take home? Particularly we as young politicians. At a time when you introduce yourself as a member of parliament, you hear people murmuring. When you tune to radios and you hear of the comments people make about members of parliament, I think there's something that we can do differently. And we are to blame. As parliament, as leaders, we have not lived life of a politician who should be emulated. Of recent, we have been making news of extorting bribe. So we should not, Right Honorable Speaker, sit down here. We have work to do to change the image of this parliament.
Now, some of you, then, Ogwal. Yeah, for now, all of you are there.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, because of time, I want to extend my condolence and the condolence of the people of Chirai represent here to the family of Mzee Byanyima. Right Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Otafire said here is African, is Uganda. Maybe he forgot that this Uganda is a cocktail put together by the various tribes, at least at independence. And it was possible because this country was blessed with honest people, people of integrity, like Mzee Byanyima, we are now mourning. I am not sure if we are supposed to form this joint venture called Uganda today with the sort of leaders that come from various areas, including the area of Mzee Boniface Byanyima, whether we would be able to form that joint venture. Mzee Kategaya, may his soul rest in eternal peace, said, a Munyankore man doesn't turn on his words. He only turns in the bed. There are Banyankole people who are these days turn on their words. So we want to thank Mzee Byanyima for being a true Munyankole. Right Honorable Speaker, finally, we've lost a stock of the pre- and independence leaders. I remember advising my good friend, the Honorable Ruakana Rugunda, when we were passing him here. Now that the Mzee Byanyimas have gone, the Maombe Mukwana, the Watcher, you need to take your seat at the bench of elders, so that when I have trouble with Tumusime, who represents Mbarara municipality, to see me, I can come to report to you. But if I have trouble with you, where do I go to report now that Mzee Byanyima has gone? Right Honorable Speaker, this motion has been moved by the Prime Minister and supported by the Leader of the Opposition. I am looking forward for a day when we will not only unite and mourn the people. When Dr. Ruakana Rugunda will be moving a motion here for restoration of term limits, and it will be supported by the Honorable Winnie Chiza, the Leader of the Opposition. we should not unite only when we are sending away people. And that's the only time we have a motion moved by the Prime Minister and supported by the leader of the opposition. And relatedly, we should also learn to appreciate people before they pass on. So gratifying them when they are dead is bad manner. I've never had those who are responsible for issuing models, those who are...
Honorable Ogwal, then Okumu, Wamai.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I joined the House in supporting the motion, and I want in a special way to thank the Right Honorable Prime Minister to move this motion. I would have wished the government chief whip to whip the movement side appropriately so that the House should have been properly constituted. Right Honorable Speaker, we are indeed celebrating the life of Mzee Bonifacio Byanyima. I used to refer to him as my dad. And indeed, in the presence of his daughters, he declared that I was his daughter because I was as courageous as him, and he would have wished Winnie was like me. And he would rebuke Winnie in our presence, telling Winnie off and saying, "You are on the wrong side of politics. Shut up when we are talking." And so my sister suffered, but she's a survivor. She always survived. Right Honorable Speaker, the first time I had a long chat with Mzee Byanyima, he shocked me. I don't like to be ambushed, but he ambushed me by saying the DP is the heart of democracy in Uganda. And when he was saying that, he knew I was the de facto leader of UPC, and I was trying to rally the DP behind the struggle to return multipartyism. And there it is, he put it straight on my face, that DP is the heart of democracy in Uganda. And I looked at him and I asked, "Mzee, why do you think DP is the heart of democracy?"
Half a minute for the elder.
Right Honorable Speaker. Yes, people keep forgetting that I'm a commissioner.
But you're also an elder.
Thanks, and I'm also an elder, yes. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, this is something members need to know. He reminded me that look around the House, you'll find that the seats in Parliament and the carpets are all green. Why do you think it is green? This is a question he has died before he explained. Finally, Right Honorable Speaker, this man needs to be remembered for his consistency. DP had 3 fatal fractures in the recent history. The first one was when DP massively crossed to the UPC. Mzee Byanyima remained a Democratic Party member and on the opposition. It was said UPC actually abolished multipartyism. I have always quoted Mzee Byanyima as a testimony to prove that UPC did not ban multipartyism because he remained on the opposition side with Mzee Alex Latim and Gaspare Oda, who also later crossed. So, Right Honorable Speaker, even when the DP gave their best politicians to the NRM as the first crop of ministers, Mzee Byanyima remained strong in the Democratic Party. Little did the DP know that that was a tactical move to really touch the very heart of the DP. But I pray that the DP will nurture the wound and come back and remain strong so that we can push the issue of democracy forward. Finally, I want the Right Honorable Speaker to remember the last cry of Mzee Byanyima. He told me personally that he is surprised that his own son, President Museveni, would allow him to lose the value of his farm when he's a president. He said that to me. And I wanted to take it up, but he said, no, you leave it to me. So if this matter is not resolved, Right Honorable Prime Minister, I know he's not there, but his spirit lives on. So I would pray that this matter will be resolved, and that will be our pride. May God bless you.
Thank you, Honorable Kumu, then Wamai, then Kiruhura Gomba Kabera Maido, then I come back this side.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to support the motion moved by the Prime Minister. Madam Speaker, there are reasons why we always speak on such occasions, so that we learn lessons. There are people who know, there are people who are young, there are people who may not have had any experience at all. When I came to the 6th Parliament, Madam Speaker, every politician must make a political pilgrimage. We went to Ruti with Honorable Winnie Byanyima, and that was the first time I met Mzee Byanyima. And he asked me which constituency I was representing. And I told him, he reminded me that that constituency was for his friend, Elijah Latim. And he asked me where I was going to sleep in Mbarara. I told him I was going to sleep in the hotel. He rebuked me and told me, he said, that's where you fail, you leaders of today. For us, we used to sleep at home. Wherever I go to Gulu, I would go and sleep with Elijah Latim. And wherever Elijah Latim comes here, that was his room. And he actually wanted me to say, as young people, we should learn to forge nationalism. And I pick one lesson from him, that this country, we need to do as leaders a little bit more. He was a nationalist. The second thing he told me was about the situation in the north. Madam Speaker, he told me that he met the president when he took over Kampala. And he pointed where the president sat in his compound. And he told me,
half a minute to conclude.
So, he told me that he told the president not to mistreat the Acholis when he crosses the Nile, because the Acholis are good people, not to commit atrocities. But that since then, the president never listened to him. He has abandoned ship, and a lot of atrocities were committed in northern Uganda. Finally, Madam Speaker, I just want to say to the family that the greatest thing their dad left for them, as we say in Acholi, that a name is better than wealth. I think the greatest thing Byanyima left behind is a name. He has not left wealth, he has not left big money, but he has left a name, and that name will live on. I remember in the 6th Parliament, one of the MPs called Byanyima visited Gulu, and people mistook him for being a son of Byanyima. He was well treated. So a name is a name, and I think Mzee lived well and left a good name, and that name is greater than whatever wealth other people may have acquired through crooked way. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
Thank you. As Honorable Mai comes, let me introduce Honorable Joseph Kakoza. He's in the gallery there. He's the former member of Parliament. You're welcome. Honorable Mai, and then we'll go to the side.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I stand on behalf of the people of Mbale to convey our sincere condolences to the family, friends, relatives, in-laws, especially Dr. Kizza Besigye, who's seated there. Our sincere condolences. Madam Speaker, we are mourning a great man. principled person who fought for democracy. And wherever he is mourning because there's no democracy in this country. He's a principled person. And he's stuck on his guts. He's a man who never accepted cash envelopes. He remained simple and fought for his ideas. But we are losing such people. What will happen to this country? Whatever Mzee Byanyima is happy because he educated his family. The children got education. The other time, Madam Speaker, I was in Washington, and Winnie was speaking at the World Bank. Everybody appreciated after the meeting to rush to Winnie Byanyima. I think it was a great thing Mzee Byanyima did, that you leave your children comfortable, and the best thing you can do is to give education. Madam Speaker, men have spoken, but we have not emulated to what he fought for, including the president of this country, who lived in his family, who lived with his people, and was advised, but he never took the advice of late Byanyima seriously. Now, who is going to advise the president if he cannot listen to such people? People like Wachorol passed on. The elders are going. What will happen to this country? So Mzee Byanyima, rest in peace. We appreciate what you did, what you fought for. We are going to continue fighting for democracy in this country. May his soul rest in peace.
Yes, let's go to Kiruhura, then we'll go to Gomba, then we'll up there. Then I'll take the last round. But we have to stop at 5:30, other members.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I rise to support the motion by the Right Honorable Prime Minister to pay tribute to our elder, our parent, our great leader, the Honorable Boniface Byanyima. First of all, I would like to extend my sincere personal condolences, and also on the behalf of people of Kiruhura, whom he once represented as Member of Parliament. And being the Member of Parliament of Kiruhura, I would like to thank him through his family for having been a great example and a great leader. When I joined Parliament as a new Member of Parliament, I took time to read the Hansards of this August House, and like many members of Parliament who are new, who would like some orientation, mentoring and guidance, and I got a lot from what was written on the Hansards of his work. I was pleased to learn from a lot of his legislation that he was such an excellent legislator and a good representative. He spoke about things that concerned government, that concerned the people he represented, and we do not have much time, Madam Speaker, but I will point out one area that concerns me so much, having been a civil servant. He had such a concern and advocated for equal access, welfare and good working conditions and benefits, and even promotions in the public service. He continuously spoke against discrimination of any kind. I will not go into the detail of that.
Sorry.
Madam Speaker, I rise to support the motion to pay tribute to the late Mzee Boniface Byanyima, and I would like to convey to the family condolences from my father, who was his personal friend and who was with you during the morning and over lunch. He did not manage to come into the house, but you know what he felt for him. He was an old Budonian like him and like me, and we thank you so much for that friendship. This is a generation that is getting extinct. We've only just lost before him the late Wachorol, Professor Odonga, amongst others, and there's so much that we can learn from them. These are encyclopedias of wealth and knowledge. Their times were so different from ours. There is so much that we can learn from them, and we thank God for their advanced age, because at 97 we celebrate his life. We don't mourn him. He has indeed accomplished his task. He has fought the fight. He's won the race. And we want to thank the family for keeping together and to ask you to remain as one unit and emulate the good that he did. So much has been said positively about him. Uphold those values. I encourage all of us with aged ones to get them to write about their lives and achievements, because we lose so much by letting it pass and going without any record. The values have been honesty, integrity, being outspoken or bold, being an educationist, a farmer, and so much more. Can government get a way of encouraging us to put together what we can get from these elders? It can be written, it can be audio, but we really need these records. And I would like to thank him for what he did, and also to thank him for upholding the value.
Thank you. Let's go to Karamaido, then Rukia, then we numbers Franca, Chinji, Mbuga.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I rise to support the motion to pay tribute to the late Honorable Byanyima. Honorable Speaker, I'm prompted to rise listening to the late life history. It gave me a bit of nostalgia about my own father, because I find a lot in common between the two. My father, the late Adrian Oriekot, was born in the same year as Muzei in 1920. They were both teachers. He was a teacher too. My father was an ardent member of the DP party. He was a member of the Legico. They sat in this parliament in the same year. He was also a rancher to the time he died. And he was a proponent of the gender equality, the equal opportunities. So I find a lot of similarities between the two. My daddy passed away in 1993, but I just thank God that the qualities that Muzei had, that is being told now, was also in my father and in the late Wacha Oluol that we said bye to a few weeks ago. So I just want to say thank you to God for the gift of that crop of leaders who are now passing away, who are now leaving us. The leaders, as many have said, were incorruptible, were disciplined, were principled, and all the good qualities that you can talk about.
Unache Kamondo, then numbers Franca, Inji, Mpuga, Angeline.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I stand up to support the motion. On behalf of the people of Sebei Sub-Region, and on behalf of myself as a teacher, I must say I am really so touched with the person who is passing on. I must say I have not come close to him, but I want to tell this parliament that please, you have seen that the person before us was disciplined at his old age. When you look at today, people, we are losing very important people at a very tender age. But if Mzee Byanyima was not disciplined in his own way, if he misbehaved with his life and he was not disciplined in his lifestyle, maybe he would have not lived for those 97 years. So that one calls upon all of you that emulate the way of life that he had. Secondly, I want to say behind every successful man is a successful woman. I must also take this opportunity to thank the family of Mzee Byanyima for helping to maintain the health of Mzee, support him in all ways to do his work up to this time. And to all the friends of Mzee, please, you have mentioned here, you have mentioned what you have got from him. He has mentored you, he has guided many of you. Please, keep in touch with the children of Mzee Byanyima to show that you are together, and must make sure that what you have
Honorable Namboze.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I associate myself with the kind words the honorable members have spoken about my father, the late Boniface Byanyima. But Madam Speaker, maybe out of need to justify certain things that were done at a certain stage, some people have spoken things which I think are not so accurate about the late. Madam Speaker, I've revised the last interview the late gave on the 12th of August 2012 to the press. And when you read that interview, you will get to know the feelings of the man that lies here before us. Madam Speaker, coming together to do bad things is not unity. It is conspiracy. And the late Byanyima never conspired with anybody against this country. Let him not be praised for having worked with certain people he refused to work with. In that interview, you will find it there. He says in that interview that he refused to be a minister 3 times to work with Obote, that he refused to be a minister to work with Amin, that he even refused to work with Museveni. So let's not just say that this man wanted unity. No. He only worked with others when they were doing good things for this country. But when they were doing bad things against this country, he refused to work with them. And the late said in that interview that he will never forgive Mr. Museveni, and for that matter NRM, if they don't restore his ranch. He has died when the ranch has not been restored, and you stand unforgiven.
Honor Franca. Franca, then Mpuga, Angeli, Franca, Chinji, Mpuga, Angeline Atkins.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, on behalf of the people of Agago District and on my own behalf, I would like to condole with the family of the late Mzee Byanyima, who lies before us this afternoon. Madam Speaker, as I was insisting to get up to speak, to catch your eye, Honorable Reagan was teasing me, asking why I want to speak and what would I speak, because given my age. And I actually promised him I would report him to you. That's what I'm trying to do. Madam Speaker, in Acholi, when a great elder dies, a drum is sounded. When the drum is sounded, people from far and wide run because they suspect the old man has died. And the people that come most are the grandchildren. My late grandfather was born in 1923, and that was around the same age. So that means I'm actually a granddaughter to the late Byanyima. That's the reason I have to speak and bury him. Madam Speaker, I have not had, like other younger members of parliament have stated in here, interactions with the late Byanyima. But through his aspirations, through his speaking, through his
urge to have good governance in this country. As a young Ugandan, as I was growing up, I really admired the person who lies before us here, the personality of Mzee Byanyima. Because a lot I know has been said about him. I know he was a man of integrity, he was a man of every good thing, but the inspiration he gave some of us in terms of
No, Chinji, then Mpuga, Angeline, then Atkins.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I also stand to support the motion to pay tribute to the late Boniface Byanyima, the former chairperson of the Democratic Party.
Members, this is a solemn meeting, please. You respect the Democrat.
Madam Speaker and honorable members, I want to convey my sincere condolences to the family, the DP fraternity, and all of you Ugandans on the loss of our beloved Boniface Byanyima. Honorable Speaker, I've learned two things in the late Boniface Byanyima. First of all, he lived a challenging life. You know, politics is about challenges amidst family matters. But the late Boniface Byanyima has left his family united amidst all the problems in politics. I know President Museveni grew up in the same family, which later on was joined by Dr. Kizza Besigye. The two people don't look in their eyes together, which means that this one I mean it, because Dr. Besigye together with President Museveni, they are both in different sides. But Honorable Speaker,
order, please.
In the old man's family, I've learned a lot, because the value of education, you can only see the value of education in the family of
Mpuga, Angeline, and then Atkins.
Thank you for your indulgence, Right Honorable Speaker. I do appreciate the limitation of time. I bring condolences from Masaka Municipality to the family and the Democrats, as well as the entire nation, for the loss of this great son of Uganda. Right Honorable Speaker, if I only had time, I could have enumerated the kind of lessons I personally learned with colleagues in our formative years as younger Democrats from this great son of Uganda. Let me just state this. In the 60s, at the making of Uganda, him and others were in their 40s. But this was a generation that dared to dream. They dreamt, they had aspirations for self, children, present, future, and the years ahead. They dreamt and shared their dreams. I'm afraid, I'm not sure that we still dream or instead hallucinate. And we have replaced aspirations with appetites. And this, for me, worries me as a Democrat, whether we can still dream beyond what we need what we aspire to achieve as individuals. We shall certainly miss him as a teacher, because he was also lucky. He taught when teaching, and the teachers were respected, and the profession was noble. As a political leader for his people and country, he was lucky to serve when politics was a calling of honorable men and women. These have a very serious deficit facing in this fair land. Of course, as a Democrat, we can only pray that in our time, we work hard to restore the kind of values he loved to see in his party and country, and use his time still remaining with us before we rest to reflect on our failings as aspiring Democrats and as Ugandans, to try and reflect on fairness, truth, and justice. Just yesterday, I saw on TV a by-election in Toroma, and I saw a group of party supporters clobbering one young man, and when asked the reason, that he was interfering with their peace. I'm not sure whether he's alive, and I almost blacked out by seeing that beating, implying that Byanyima can't rest in peace. That's not the Uganda he dreamt of. That's not the kind of fairness he thought would engender in our polity. Unfortunately,
Angeline, then Atkins.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, allow me to bring condolences from Soroti District and on my own behalf and my family. It's indeed a pity. I would like to reiterate the issue that has been said by many here about the compensation. It is reported on by the Auditor General. And if this government can only, that is one of the things you cannot dodge, because it's already in black and white. We need to work on it and make sure it is compensated. Madam Speaker, many have alluded to the fact that the late Muzei was a teacher. I am a daughter of a teacher. And when I compare the generation of teachers then and the generation of teachers today, there is a big difference. Why is that difference there? How were the teachers of that time trained? And how are our teachers today trained? The teachers of that time imparted their training not only to their students, but also to their children. Why is it that there is such a disparity between the same profession at the time of the Byanyimas and now? Madam Speaker, many have said he has left a good name, and indeed he has. And I want to say here, because of his good name, people will praise his children and his grandchildren. The Bible says, the sins of a parent will haunt his children or her children for 3 generations. I want to tell us today, the sins you commit today, the harm you cause to people today will haunt your children in the future. Some of us, people will shut doors to the faces of our children. If we leave good names, people will open doors.
Atkins Katusave.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. And please forgive me for my hoarse voice. My deepest condolences to the family. Deepest condolences to my leader, Dr. Kano Kizza Besigye. Madam Speaker, the whole country knows it, that Uganda's story is incomplete without mentioning Muzei Honorable Byanyima. For the following reasons. Number one, he's being the glue that he used to keep DP together. 2, he was the soul of Ankole. 3, he was the lion of Uganda, just as Jesus was the lion of Judah. Now, Madam Speaker, believe me, I see, well, yes, we're here celebrating, but Muzei is not celebrating for one reason. There was something yet to happen. He has left a miracle prepared to happen. Madam Speaker, you know that certainly we look forward to a first woman president. And I have a dream list. On that dream list, top on that list is yourself. Number two, oh yes. Number two, the Honorable Win Byanyima, their daughter. Number three, certainly, is Alop. Number four is Honorable Segen. So, yes, rest in peace. But I think there is something fundamental about his death. That we need to focus on the country more than we do to ourselves or to our parties. That no matter how different our views might appear, it's very important to know that we Ugandans, we need to work for Uganda. Rest in peace, Mzee Honorable Byanyima. And Madam Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you, honourable members. We've been here for over 3 hours. The 35 members have contributed to this motion. So I would like to put the question, that the question be now put. Those in favour say aye, the contrary no. Ayes have it. Honourable members, the program is as follows. Tonight there is a vigil at their home in Muyenga. Tomorrow there will be a service at St. Paul Cathedral, Namirembe, starting at 9 o'clock. And the body will be taken to Ruti in Mbarara. There will be a vigil also in Mbarara. On Sunday, 21st May, there will be prayers at their home in Ruti, starting at 10 a.m. Burial will be at 2 p.m. The Parliamentary Commission has provided 2 buses to leave from here at 8 o'clock in the morning on Sunday to enable members go and pay their last respects. Those who need to go to Mbarara should contact Honorable Sewungu. Now, Honorable members, I put the question that the House do approve a motion to pay tribute to the late Honorable Boniface Muyogoma Byanyima as proposed by the Prime Minister. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Ayes have it. Now, Honourable members, I direct the clerk to extract the Hansard and send it to the family together with the tribute.
Item 6 on the order paper, the anthems in reverse order. Honourable members, please stand up. Honorable members, please remain standing as the casket leaves the parliamentary chamber. Honorable members, please resume your seats.
Honourable members, as indicated, the House will resume again on Tuesday at 2 p.m. However, honourable members, you may recall that yesterday this House debated and adopted a motion urging government to extend the deadline for the registration, verification, and validation exercise of the subscriber identity module cards in Uganda. The representatives of the people and the front bench largely agreed with this resolution. I am shocked to learn that the Minister in charge of ICT, Honorable Frank Kajiji Tumwebaze, Member of Parliament for Kibale East County in Kamwenge District, in total disregard, disrespect, and disdain of this House resolution, has insisted that unregistered SIM cards will be switched off by tonight at midnight. This is an affront to the people's representatives and the country, and it's unacceptable and cannot go unchallenged. Honourable members, the executive had the opportunity to present their contrary arguments, if any, in this House yesterday. This was a substantive motion. It was on the order paper. If the executive had any reservation on this matter, even after the resolution was made, the minister should have had the courtesy of coming and presenting a statement to this House on this objection to the resolution made. Honourable members, you must be aware that Honourable Tumwebaze is not a regular attendant of this House. Yes. Indeed, ever since the issue of registration started, he has not had the courtesy to come to this House, to brief the House and brief the country. He has not. He has not even understood. He does not even give himself time to hear the difficulties people are going through their representatives. Honourable members, I'm proposing to present this matter to the Rules Committee. I'm citing him for contempt under Rule 211 of the Rules of Procedure. We cannot accept this disregard of people's voices, their challenges and problems. It's a high level of arrogance. So on Tuesday, I'll send this matter to the Rules Committee so that they can invite him to explain himself to this House. Thank you very much. House adjourned to Tuesday next week.
We are going to sanction him. 118. 118 oye. Ah,